Emotions are like a river flowing endlessly through human life. At times they are gentle, like a lake in the early morning, at other times they are fierce and surging, like a waterfall in the midst of a storm. We grow up amid these fluctuations, learning how to love, how to fear, how to rejoice, and how to endure pain. Yet very rarely do we truly learn how to understand our emotions, understand their nature, their origins, and the way they operate within our own mind. In the modern world, where the pace of life grows ever faster, people become increasingly intelligent in terms of intellect, yet more fragile emotionally. We can control complex machines, connect with one another in an instant through screens. But we are often helpless before the inner waves of our own hearts. A careless remark can wound us deeply. A small failure can cause us to collapse. A fleeting joy quickly fades, leaving behind a sense of emptiness that is hard to name. Amid this whirlwind, Buddhism does not appear as a distant philosophical system, but as a living path of practice, a path that helps human beings look deeply into their own minds, recognize the true nature of emotions, and from there rediscover the balance that has always existed within. From the Buddhist perspective, emotions are neither enemies to be destroyed nor masters to be obeyed. They are phenomena that arise and pass away, like clouds drifting across the sky of consciousness. The issue is not whether we have emotions or not, but how we relate to them. When we cling tightly to pleasure, we create suffering for the future. When we run away from sadness, it only chases us more relentlessly. When we resist anger, it flares up with even greater force. People often think that emotional balance means always being calm, never sad, never angry, never in pain. But in the profound understanding of Buddhism, balance is not emotional numbness, it is awareness in the midst of emotion. It is the ability to fully feel every state of mind without being swept away by it like a leaf drifting helplessly in a rushing current. Imagine your mind as a clear lake. When the wind arises, the surface of the lake may ripple, but beneath it remains still. When rain falls, each drop creates spreading circles, yet the nature of the lake does not change. Emotions are the same, they may appear powerfully, but if you know how to observe them with mindfulness, they will no longer have the power to control your life. Buddhism teaches that the roots of emotional imbalance lie in the three inner poisons: greed, anger, and ignorance. Greed causes us to cling to what is pleasant. Anger causes us to resist what is unpleasant. Ignorance causes us to misunderstand the nature of reality, to believe that things are fixed, permanent, and belong to me. This misunderstanding gives rise to endless cycles of suffering within the human mind. When we love someone and cling to them as our sole source of happiness, the fear of loss will always haunt us. When we succeed and identify ourselves with that success, we live in constant anxiety that it may disappear. When we fail and believe, "I am a failure," we imprison ourselves in the cage of self-contempt. All of this arises from attachment, from confusing temporary emotions with the permanent essence of who we are. The Buddhist path toward emotional balance does not seek to erase emotions, but to help us see them as they truly are. When anger arises, instead of exploding or suppressing it, we learn to recognize, this is anger that is present. When sadness appears, instead of sinking into despair, we can quietly breathe and see, this is sadness passing through. That very moment of recognition brings freedom. Mindfulness is like a light shining into a dark room. When there is light, the darkness is no longer frightening. Similarly, when there is mindfulness, emotions cease to be tyrants and become visitors to your mind. There are pleasant guests and unpleasant ones, but you remain the calm host. Throughout Buddhist history, many meditation masters have emphasized that peace does not come from changing the external world, but from transforming the way we see the inner world. A person may live amid noise and still remain tranquil if their mind has been trained. Conversely, a person may be in the quietest place and yet remain restless if their mind is caught in anxiety and fear. The path of emotional balance, therefore, is not a path of escaping life, but a path of entering life deeply with awareness. It is a journey of returning to the breath, to the body, to the subtle sensations unfolding in each moment. It is a journey of learning to love without possessing, to let go without becoming indifferent, to live fully without being bound. In every heartbeat, every breath, every passing thought, Buddhism invites us to return to the present moment, the place where emotions arise and also where they can be transformed. When we are truly present with ourselves, we begin to see that behind every wave of emotion there always exists a vast, quiet ocean. That ocean is our true mind, open, spacious, and undisturbed by the ups and downs. The Buddhist path does not create that ocean, it helps us realize that it has always been there. And from the moment of that realization, a new way of living begins, living more deeply, more lightly, more freely, and more compassionately toward ourselves and toward the world around us. That is the Buddhist way to emotional balance, the Buddhist path leading to emotional balance. If the opening offers a panoramic view of the ocean of emotions, then the main body is the journey of stepping down into those waters. One step at a time, to explore the depths beneath the rippling surface. In everyday life, human beings tend to respond to emotions in three common ways: being swept away by them, trying to suppress them, or seeking to escape from them. Yet none of these truly touches the core of the Buddhist path. To be swept away means allowing emotions to take complete control. When we are happy, we chase pleasure until we are exhausted. When we are sad, we sink into despair. When we are angry, we act blindly. Emotions become the ones steering the wheel, while we are merely powerless passengers. In this state, life resembles a boat without a rudder in the open sea, sometimes lifted high by the waves, sometimes dragged down into the depths. Suppression is more subtle. Outwardly, it appears calm, but inwardly it is a battlefield. We smile while our hearts are heavy, appear strong while our minds are full of cracks. Buddhism sees that suppression is not liberation, but merely the act of pushing emotional energy deeper into the subconscious, where one day it may erupt with even greater force. Escape is another extreme. Some believe that to find peace, one must avoid all emotions, all relationships, all attachments. They seek isolation, yet ultimately carry their own unrest with them. For the problem does not lie in the outer world, but in the way we relate to the inner one. The Buddhist path chooses a different direction, the path of awareness, acceptance, and transformation. The first step is learning to stop. In the rushed current of thoughts and emotions, even a single moment of conscious stopping can be an inner revolution. Stopping to breathe. Stopping to feel. Stopping to look deeply into what is happening within us, without judgment. When anger arises, instead of reacting immediately, a mindfulness practitioner returns to the body and the breath. They feel the heat in the chest, the tension in the jaw, the quickening heartbeat. They do not say, "I am angry," but simply recognize, there is anger present. This small space between I and the emotion is the beginning of freedom. The second step is understanding the impermanent nature of emotions. In meditation, one observes that all mental states come and go, like waves on the ocean. No anger lasts forever, no sadness is permanent, no joy remains unchanged. When this is clearly seen, fear and blind attachment begin to loosen their grip. Buddhism teaches that the greatest suffering does not come from emotions themselves, but from clinging to them. We suffer not because we are sad, but because we do not want to be sad and yet still are. We hurt not because of loss, but because we try to hold on to what cannot be held. We feel anxious not because the world is chaotic, but because we want it to be stable according to our wishes. Through practice, one gradually realizes that emotions are like clouds passing through the sky of consciousness. The sky is not harmed by the clouds, it remains vast, clear, and open. Likewise, the true mind of a human being, when recognized, is not destroyed by any emotion. The third step is cultivating inner qualities that support emotional balance, compassion, wisdom, and letting go. Compassion helps us treat ourselves more gently when difficult emotions arise. Instead of blaming ourselves, "Why am I so weak?" We can softly whisper, "There is suffering in me, and I can hold it with care." This attitude softens the sharp edges of the mind. Wisdom allows us to see through the surface of emotions and recognize their deeper causes. We begin to notice that much sadness comes from unrealistic expectations, much anger from unhealed wounds, much anxiety from the illusion of control. Letting go does not mean indifference, it means holding things lightly. We still love, still care, still live fully, but without binding ourselves to outcomes. We can dream without being crushed when dreams collapse. We can love without turning love into possession. In daily life, this path manifests in very concrete ways. When facing criticism, instead of counterattacking or self-condemnation, we can listen inwardly to how we are reacting. When encountering failure, instead of concluding, "I am useless," we see it as a lesson in impermanence. When joy arises, we savor it fully without clinging, knowing it will change. Gradually, a subtle transformation takes place. Emotions still come, but they no longer shake us as before. We become like a large tree in the wind, swaying, but not breaking. Storms may rage outside, yet inside there remains a still, unmoving space. Miraculously, as the mind becomes more balanced, our relationships with others also change. We react less defensively, blame less, and struggle less. We listen more deeply, love more broadly, and are more fully present in each moment. Emotional balance in Buddhism, therefore, is not a state of separation from life, but a way of living more deeply within life itself. We do not escape the world, we enter the world with an awakened heart. And at the end of this path, we no longer search for peace outside, because we have realized that peace has always been there. Quiet as the ocean floor, right within our own mind. At the end of the path of emotional balance, we come to realize a paradox that is both simple and wondrous. Peace is not something we achieve, it is something we recognize. For so many years, human beings have searched for happiness outside themselves, in success, in love, in status, in fleeting moments of exhilaration. We believe that if everything goes according to our wishes, the mind will finally be at peace. But life does not work that way. Everything is constantly changing, people come and go, joy arises and fades, achievements appear and disappear, opportunities open and then close. And precisely because we place our peace in what is unstable, we trap ourselves in cycles of emotional imbalance. The Buddhist path does not promise a life without difficulties, it offers a way of being within difficulty without being drowned by it. It is not the absence of storms, but the building of a sturdy boat. Not the elimination of emotions, but the capacity to stand firm amid all the waves of the mind. When mindfulness is practiced deeply enough, a subtle shift occurs in how we see life. We begin to understand that every emotion, pleasant or unpleasant, is a teacher. Anger teaches us about boundaries and wounded places. Sadness teaches us about impermanence and compassion. Anxiety teaches us about letting go of the need to control. Joy teaches us how to cherish the present moment. No emotion remains an enemy. All of them become waves that guide us back to our own depth. At the deepest level of the mind, where thoughts settle and emotions dissolve, there exists a vast and quiet space that Buddhism calls the true mind. It is not something mystical or distant, it is pure awareness that is always present, even when we are sad, angry, or afraid. When we touch this space, we no longer identify completely with our emotions. We still feel them fully, but we are no longer defined by them. We can say, "There is sadness in me," instead of, "I am sadness." We can see, "There is anger passing through," instead of, "I am this anger." That small distance is profound freedom. From this inner freedom, a new way of living naturally unfolds. We become gentler with ourselves, less self-blame, less harshness, less inner violence. We learn to hold our vulnerable parts the way we would hold a wounded child. And from this inner healing, we begin to treat others with greater kindness. We come to understand that everyone is struggling with their own emotional waves, so we judge less, blame less, and cultivate more compassion. We listen more deeply, love more sincerely, and show up more fully in each relationship. Emotional balance, therefore, is not only a personal benefit, it is a gift we bring to the world. A peaceful person spreads peace. An awakened person awakens others. One who knows how to love themselves knows how to love others. The Buddhist path toward emotional balance is not an easy one, but it is the most worthwhile path of a lifetime. Each mindful breath, each return to the present moment. Each time we observe emotions without being carried away, these are steps closer to inner freedom. And one day, we may find ourselves smiling amid uncertainty, standing steady in the midst of storms, and keeping our hearts open to life. Because we are no longer searching for peace outside, we have found it within ourselves. If these reflections touch your heart, if you sense a quiet stillness beginning to bloom within, continue walking this path of awakening with us. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future teachings, meditation stories, and deep reflections on spirituality, the Dharma, and inner transformation. Each video is a gentle step on the journey back to the true mind. And don't forget to leave a comment below, share what you've felt, what you've realized, or the questions that still rest quietly in your heart. Each sharing not only deepens your own understanding, but also spreads the light of awareness to others walking the same path. Because in the end, we do not walk alone, we walk together, on the path back to peace, wisdom, and compassion. And with each step, emotional balance is no longer a distant goal, but a way of living, fully, mindfully, and lovingly.